The deficit this year was $61 billion.
That was last year's deficit.
Last year. And there's 40 million people in Canada. And so that's $1,500 per person federal overspending. And that's $6,000 essentially per family. So just for everybody watching and listening, your federal government spent $6,000 of your family's money last year going over their budget. That's just what they spent in excess of what they had originally budgeted. Right.
And that's on top of having among the highest taxes in the world, with our 53% highest marginal tax rate, plus carbon tax, plus high payroll taxes, plus high business taxes, plus high capital gains taxes. So they're taking in more money than ever before. They've squeezed the taxpayer out of every last dime, and they're still $62 billion short.
Right.
And that's just one level of government, by the way. Then the provinces have deficits that compound the federal one. So we have way too much government, and we need to reduce the size and cost of government and unleash the power of the free market.
Okay, so it's also the case that we haven't gone into diagnostics yet, but it's also the case that the Trudeau administration has increased the federal bureaucracy 40%?
In bodies, yes.
In bodies since its inception.
Yeah.
Right. But despite that, they've also radically increased the amount of money that they're spending on consultants.
Yes.
Who are about as expensive. They're as expensive as employees go.
Oh, they're way more expensive.
Yeah, as any employee you could ever possibly have, right? $600 an hour, something like that. Right. So they've massively increased the size of the federal bureaucracy, but also massively increased the degree to which they outsource the work that hypothetically the bureaucrats should be doing.
And this is not, it sounds like one of those sort of annoying things that bothers us all, but isn't very substantive. You think one guy is making $600 an hour. We're spending $21 billion on federal government consultants alone. That's $1,400 per Canadian family in federal taxes
per year,
just for consultants.
Right.
Per year. That's recurring. That's not a one-time cost. So it is an insane amount of money to be spending on that, especially when you have more bureaucrats to supposedly do the work. And arguably, they're delivering worse results than ever before. I mean, our border is more porous. Our military has been weakened. And our basic services.
Weakened or devastated?
Well, you could put it either way. I mean, I think it's definitely been weakened. And despite the heroism of the men and women who still serve, the political leadership has undermined it in every possible way.
Right. Immigration, porous border. I think our per capita immigration rate exceeds that of the U.S., even given the U.S. open southern border.
Oh, by far. We had a population growth of 1.2 million in 2023. That's on a base of 40 million people. So it's an astonishing number of people to bring in 1 year. Everyone now admits that this was a calamity for housing, the job market, and our healthcare system.
Trudeau himself walked it back recently.
He walked it back.
With what was the approximation of a public apology.
Yes. This is after he called everyone who questioned his immigration policy a racist.
Right.
And then he adopted the policies that he was calling racist only a year and a half earlier. So...